All right, folks, welcome back to another This Week in photo critique. This is photo critique number 234, the reimagined raw, as per Troy Miller. Troy, who's here today, by the way, with me, as always. Troy, Troy, reimagined raw, right? Were the submissions to this critique what you imagined or what you reimagined?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. There's some really great images in here, and some are extreme and some are subtle changes, and I really like that. And I think that it's important because so often we see images on Instagram, or we see everybody else's best image. They only show the best or what's been done. I like to see where it started. Sometimes it's the same, right? We know like Paulo in the community, like he doesn't do a lot of tweaking and editing, so his stuff is pretty tight. But like some of us, like me, I like to punish those pixels, as you like to say. So it's interesting to see where they start and where they end up.
Yeah, yeah. We should do more of these. I like these kind of show us your work. Remember we were doing a while back or a couple of years ago, we did some of those watch me work episodes where
Yeah,
it's kind of behind the scene. I kind of want to merge that in this where instead of just like the reveal, it's like show me how you got from there to here using that crappy raw and now you have this award-winning piece at the end. What are the steps that a pro takes to get there instead of
yeah.
figuring out. I,
Sometimes it's
I
a
want to do
lot.
that. Yeah, I want to do that. And I want to do it live and interactive so people can ask questions and all that.
Yep.
If you guys agree with that in the chat, go ahead and sound off. Let me know if that's a good idea to do something like that where we bring on Troy or other professionals that are gonna take us through their workflow and take a file from the memory card and get it ready to upload status. We'll see how that goes.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
Hey, listen, can you hear the dogs across the street?
Only if I try really hard.
it's like it's like a dog fight across the street. I have no idea what's happening over there. This is live television, people. Live television.
What a random thing to stop and chat
I
about.
know. I mean, there's just like I don't know. It's a dog fight going on. I don't know.
Take this
They have
opportunity to
large.
add my water to my cup.
Yes, they have large animals over there. Okay, let's do this. So again, this is photo critique number 234, the reimagined raw, where we challenged our members to take a raw file that, or not necessarily a raw, but preferably a raw file from uh, ages ago and reimagine it using today's tools. And folks came through. Here's Peter
Yeah,
Levshin. You know this guy, right? You've heard of him, Peter Levshin.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a legend. So here's his raw file. Here's his
Yep,
raw.
infrared.
Infrared clearly looks like it looks unsalvageable. Look at the blown highlights and all that, right? And then here's the result of that. Makes
Yeah.
you want to go get your camera hacked into for infrared, doesn't it?
I already have.
Yeah, I was talking
Yeah,
to the group.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. What do you think of this? Did you didn't edit this for him, right? You guys are good friends. Did you edit this or did he do it?
I didn't do it. No, he did it. And this is something that he did in Capture One once he learned how to do the AI masking and going back and just sort of like re-editing old photos. The previous photo was in Zion. It's in this canyon. I don't know exactly where it's at. But we both were there, and we both were bummed because the distant mountain, we overexposed them, and we didn't think that
Mm,
they were salvageable. And then recently, we both started playing with them, and they turned out really nice.
isn't that
So
great?
this is, yeah, this is Peter's reimagined image from that valley. I I really like it. Like I'm a big fan. I would probably crop it to a horizontal image and get rid of that sort of riverbed in the foreground, but I love the fact that it's got that window and that frame and that cradle. I don't know the names of those mountains. Like I'm sure somebody does, but yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, this is great. Yeah, and those masking tools inside of Capture One are they're just
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Lightroom too, but I feel like Capture
yeah.
One's maybe stronger right now, right? but but
It,
you know, it's different. But you know, looking at what those tools can do, and then you spent time in the dark room back in the day, right? So
Mhm.
imagine trying to get this level of precision with your little cardboard cutouts and dodging tools stuck to the end of bent hangers and using your hands and doing all the the choreography to get it right, remember all that? It's like
I do.
everyone had their own little thing, of how you dodge and burn, but completely unrepeatable. Of course, you can make one print, but the
Right.
next one is not going to look like the one that you loved,
Right.
right? But
Right.
now we have these crazy masking tools that just let us say, yeah, that I want it darker. This, I want to do this to it. Oh, that tree, I want it gone. Oh, over here, I want more trees. Like who'd have thunk that we would have that
No.
power when people were complaining about how Photoshop itself was gonna kill the world of photography, and now, it's just so much power. Like this shot,
Yep.
yeah, I agree with your assessment of it. Mine is, I feel like two shots, right? There's one in here where it's, I want to crop up from the bottom and then just draw my user through this sort of, this valley here into this distant mountain range, and forget about this area at the bottom because it's like muddying up literally and figuratively the rest of the photo, right? So I want to see that out of there. The other one is using this river bed as kind of a leading line and just bringing it, making it more of a vertical shot and bringing in the sides a little bit to get rid of
Hmm.
some of the mountain range on the left and the side. It's a lot of blank, nothingness over there. And I feel like our main subject and our supporting character down here are what's most important, and we're using a lot of pixels and dark pixels at that on the left and right. So I would maybe crop up from the bottom a little bit, but then Peter, consider making it a vertical and just kind of cropping in so that that mountain becomes more obvious, and it's using more of the pixels in the scene. Does that make sense, Troy? You agree with that?
It does. Oh no, I absolutely agree. No, it's a wonderful image. And what's cool is, when Peter posted this, I'm like, man, that looks like Zion. I that's really cool. And then he's like, well, you were standing right next to me, and I'm like, oh, I was. So I have images from there. So
Yeah, yeah. Yours is from a slightly higher vantage point than Peter's.
I think I
Like
shot
maybe a
all of
foot or
mine with
so, right?
right, right. And I think I shot all of mine with a long lens. I think that's what I did. I think I
Oh,
have a lot more compression in mine. Peter's image is better. It definitely turned out nice, that wide angle shot.
yeah.
So,
It's so
but this,
grand, right? Because you got to look at it, and these trees down here are big trees, right? So, but from the vantage point you guys were at, makes it all feel kind of miniature. You were there, so you have the spatial awareness of what it was actually like. But from someone who wasn't there, it almost feels like a forced perspective, or a tilt shift kind of deal going on there.
right, right. Yeah, it's really nice. I love it. Yep. Another reason
Oh,
to play
and
more with
oh, this would
red.
be interesting. This would be interesting to experiment with tilt shift effects, right? Like after, like post processing tilt shift, to see if you can't make that distant mountain look tiny.
Right.
That'd be interesting.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, very cool, Peter. Thank you for participating. All right, so moving down. Next up is you, Troy Miller.
Yes.
Let's take a look at this. Do tell. What is happening
Yeah.
here, and what did you discover with your newfound superpowers? I noticed this is like a Where's Waldo, man, because it's like what IQ test? What's changed between these photos? There are
I
32
know.
changes. Can you pick them out?
So this is an old image. Like I edited this one for image competition several years ago. This is Jennifer, and she was a bride of ours. So the left is what I saw in camera. So you try to get as much as you can in camera, and I think this is traditionally what a lot of photographers have to deal with. And you only have limited time, so you set the pose up, you do the best you can, you do color correcting, and then boom, that's kind of like what you would deliver. And then to go to image competition, or maybe what I hoped the scene would look like, because there's a lot of times we walk into a scene and we're like, man, I wish all the candles were there, right? But they're not
Hmm.
there, and you can't take time. So in post, I corrected for that kind of stuff, and I removed what I thought were the distractions. So I took out like little chair and pot in the lower left-hand corner. I added 2 more candles. I straightened up the perspective. So like the building was kind of tilting, and I think the building was actually tilting. So I fixed that on the door on the right. And then just some dodging and burning to kind of bring the highlights, the lights, to the attention of the bride. So
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
Did the bride purchase this shot way back then?
Uh, well, I think she put this one in her album. I don't know if it was the edited or the pre-edited. And what's always interesting is that for me, even as a wedding photographer, some of the images that I'll edit for competition, we end up showing the bride, and they're like, yeah, I like the original one a little better. Right. Like they like that. And some of them like lean into to sort of the storytelling of whatever I might edit. So I don't remember what she did, but this one isn't too far off. So it doesn't change the story much.
So any revelations as you were editing this? Like, I mean, you edit all the time, so it's not like you're gonna learn something brand new. But going through this whole exercise of reaching back and then trying to reimagine a shot, did you come away with any key learnings?
Yeah, I think what's really important is like one, Photoshop is hard. Even though we have amazing, tools, it's still hard to make it right. And trying to get the shot in camera as much as possible. I should have just moved the chair and the table on the left, and little things like get it in camera, because doing the stuff in post is very time consuming. So
Yeah, yeah. I call
that's
that
for me. Yeah.
past you looking out for future you, right?
Right.
always,
Right.
always be doing that. Always be trying to, cover the back of the future version of yourself in a timeline. So
Right. Right.
very cool. Very cool. Thank you for doing that. All right. Next up is Karen Sweeney. So Karen, she says she was a bit unsure as to what was required, so I've included a screenshot of the raw file, her previous take on it, and the latest edit. Here's how the raw file looks in Fast Raw Viewer. Oh, good. She's got several versions here. Cool. Awesome. So,
Yeah.
okay. So this is I'm guessing the screenshot of the original. Does she say here? Yeah. Yeah. So this is yes. Okay. So here's the original raw file. So you can see our kind of not straight horizon, all the things. Then we come in and we've tightened it up much more. And this one added that does not even look like the same location. That does not look at that. I mean, I wish I could pull up a side by side real quick of this. I can't. Oh, I mean, I could, but that'd take a minute. But look at the difference. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. Even the water droplets are more. Look at that. So you can barely see the water droplets around the animal here. But then in the pure raw. No, this is not the pure raw. This is the. Am I looking at this right? So 2022 Affinity Photo and Topaz Denoise. Is that this one? Like, are captions applying to the thing above them or below them? So let's go with this. This is the raw file. This is the 2022 Affinity Photo and Topaz Denoise. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, the captions are above.
Yeah, captions above. And this is Pure Raw 3. Thank you for doing that. And Affinity Photo 2. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. Wow. What do you think, Troy? I think I like the one previous to this one.
Oh, I like this one. So this is really wonderful to be able to see not only like where the image started, but to see the vision of the artist. I love the fact that I can kind of see their raw file and then see how it ends, because that kind of gives me a sense of what they were going for, what their goal was, as opposed to just seeing the end photo. Which is fun. I agree with everything that you said. The last photo is my favorite because I like the green. I really like that green color. I do think though is that the blue, the cyan or the cool tones in the third photo are too strong. So I would probably pull back the cool tones a little bit. However, I love the fact that the face of the bird, if you call it the face, is popping out more. We can see that yellow in the face of the bird, the eyes, and I like that we have this space to the left, camera left, that they're flying into. We can see those reeds and everything.
Yeah.
I do feel though, and maybe I'm curious what you think. I feel like the horizon, it feels crooked, right? Like
Yeah, it does. Like maybe it's
it's
not, but because of all the stuff happening on this side,
yeah,
it feels like it's weighting it down to that side, right? So which makes it feel tilted.
yeah.
I
It
don't know.
doesn't. It doesn't. It's not. I mean, like I'm bringing up a little crop line, and it's not crooked, but it
Mhm.
feels that way a little bit. It's kind of. I don't know.
It's a
I don't know. It
floptical
kind of
illusion.
feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what you always say is when if it feels that way, subjectively, then you should cheat in the other direction to make it
yeah,
feel right versus it being technically correct, right?
yeah. It's optional. It's optional. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I would probably give this a little bit more room on the right. I feel like we're a little tight. And that, I mean, I know that we have space for that, so I would open that up a little bit more room for
Yeah,
the right
I think you
edge.
sold me. I'm over to your side now in terms of the processing. The kind of the This has more yellow in it on this one.
Yeah,
This one is more cyan or blue or magenta, maybe magenta, right?
yep,
But what I would love to see is I like the water droplets falling off the bird because I know what's happening, right? I know, oh, it just got its prey and it's taken off again and it was still wet. They're here, but they're less obvious on this shot. But the prey is more obvious. See that? Like you kind of
yep,
lose it a little bit here, but you got the water and the backlit water droplets, and then on this one, you got. So I want to see somewhere in the middle, I guess. I don't know. And to me, like maybe even color balance wise, this might be a little bit too far into the yellow. So somewhere between the magenta and the yellow is where the truth lies. With some, I want to see those water droplets as well.
yeah.
And the
But the
crop,
edit
the
is
crop
wonderful. Yeah,
it is, yeah. The crop, I think probably, I agree with you. If we keep this crop where it is, the bird needs to be further away from this side of the frame, the right side of the frame or camera left. If we crop this, like if depending on what this was shot for, if this was shot for like a 2-page double truck in a magazine, and they're gonna put copy on this side, then sure, leave it like this. But if this is going to be hung on the wall, I think I would lose some of this left hand side and maybe even crop part or even half of these reeds off just to show that these aren't that important and this is the important thing. With all of them in here, it feels like this is more of a supporting character because the artist chose to give us so many pixels to capture it. Like cut them
right.
off so that I know instantly that, oh, that's not supposed to be in there, right? I don't know. Just my
Yeah,
two
very
cents.
subtle adjustments either way. I mean,
Yeah.
either way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But beautiful, beautiful shot, beautiful, as they say. Remember they used to say on Flickr way back in the day, great capture. That was that was the thing on Flickr. You could upload a picture of your toe, and of course someone's gonna say, great capture. that's, that's not helpful. That's not helpful.
No,
Um,
no.
yeah. So very cool. Thank you, Karen, for that. Appreciate that. Speaking of Paulo Bosetti, that was a comment on this.
I know, but hit see more
Craig's.
under his.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yep.
hey, there we go. Boo! Thank you. Saves the day. Okay. He says the original shot is dated April. I'm guessing a 2012 shot in San Francisco on a Pentax Q, a tiny miniature of a mirrorless camera with a 4:3 sensor. Yes. I generally prefer 3:2 ratio, but then I want to lose the top bottom area, so I used outpoint. Oh, out painting. I'm guess he's saying out painting AI in Photoshop. Then I regraded the colors according to. You see that, Troy? You just got through saying how much of a purist Paolo is, and now Paolo is showing you, yeah, I'm a purist, but when I need the tools, I'm going to use the tools.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's
Mhm.
great. And you see, there's very little like edited in the major image. I do like this. I'm really torn between parts of both images. So I
Mhm.
love the color grading of the final image, but I like the crop of the first image. I like it tighter, with
Mm.
less foreground and less car on the left. No
Mhm.
shadow on the ground or anything. But I love the color grading. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? I like the crop of the first one.
Yeah, I agree. Because on this first one, I don't know. I mean, I like the aspect ratio here because it feels more expansive and it feels less constrained. But at the same time, showing more of this car or the U-Haul and the car in here. Like when I looked at this one, my eye instantly went to this guy in the window sitting in the corner reading this little magazine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went kind of exploring behind. Oh, he's in a laundromat, right? So but I really didn't pay attention to what's over here. Then I went to this one and I instantly had to read what's on this U-Haul truck because words, right? So
Right.
we go to words. I like his processing on this for just like you pointed out. I like the subtle vignette that's drawing me into him, but I also feel like I'm there's a tug of war of attention between these two things right here. So the crop reduces that tug of war and instantly lets me know that this is not important over here. Just like in that read photo before, right? Cutting off a bit of it or half of it instantly says this thing isn't that important, or else they would have included the whole thing. Including the whole thing, now this is important over here. So,
Right, right. And if you want to get to this ratio, because I mean, I can see what he did, what Paulo did. He wanted that what did he say, 4:3 ratio.
mm,
You could just crop the top a little bit
mm-hmm,
and get that
mm-hmm,
ratio. I don't think we need to extend the space on the left. But if that's important, if the story of what's over there is important, then you would leave it. But what you said is absolutely true. I'm not a big fan of seeing the U-Haul truck. So,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, yeah. But nice, yeah. I didn't even consider that. Yeah, unless this is a story about flyers that get posted in San Francisco laundromats, then not you can stand to crop some of this headroom off of here, and maybe even down a little bit down the left, right? So your crop then becomes if you go 4:3 or I guess whatever this aspect ratio is, but you crop here and then down and now our friend here is really the most important thing because we punched in and we're not saying any of this is all this up here is it's a tertiary character versus being closer to secondary or primary. So yeah, very nice. And I still love his framing. I love the border that Paulo puts on his shots. All right. Up next is Mr. Craig Stampley. Craig, oh, he gave us a 2-in-1. Okay. All right. On the left is our original, and then on the right, oh, we remember this. Remember this from one of our photo critiques?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this was geometry or something. But what do you think?
Yeah, I know he entered this in image competition as well.
Mm.
Oh man, I love that. That's a That's such a great image. I'm looking at them side by side. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love the geometry in this, and I love the fact. I mean, I like the original image, and I like that a lot. But I like the fact that he leaned into finding that triangle with the half circle from the pool, and cleaned up all those angles and everything. Cleaned up the concrete, like gave it that nice little tad bit of warm tone. Took
Mm-hmm.
out whatever the seats that were in the center of the triangle. I just think that that's spectacular. That's like an art form right there. That's like a piece of art with all those angles and lines and shapes and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
very
I
nice.
agree. Yeah, it's like the one on the left is would be great for the website that's trying to lure people to come to this location. It feels more documentary, annual report, commercial.
Yeah,
The right one, obviously, more abstract and artistic, and they're both strong. So interesting. Yeah, just and like you said, cleaning up all the little bits out of the one on the right, like those three dots in the pool, and I'm sure you did a million other things that we were not even paying attention to, but I
right.
dig it. Yeah, very very nice.
Yeah, it's really simple, right? Like it's one of those kind of things. Like there's not a lot that you can pick on because when you look at it, there's not a lot in there, and it's nice and clean. So I love that
Hmm.
too. And then the juxtaposition of the triangle, the squares, and then you got that partial, curve, semicircle on the right within a
Yeah.
triangle. I think that's so cool.
It is. Yeah, and it's one of those shots where you're not. we often say when we're looking at these photos, like, what's the story? Who's the hero? Like, what are you trying to tell the viewer? That kind of thing. Looking at this shot on the right, obvious, right? It's triangle, circles,
Yeah.
and rectangles in here. We get that, okay, the artist is trying to tell us to look at the shapes and how this cool pool area made these shapes. There's no mystery, as to what Craig wanted us to see and what he's trying to tell us through the pixels here. Yeah, so I like it. It's probably several other images in here he probably did pull out of this shot, but yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Super
All
cool.
right, Mr. Stampley, very cool. All right, up next is Dr. Eric Pronsky. He said this was Cathedral Rock, Sedona, Arizona. Left is the original 6 megapixel shot taken in 2005. Processed in Photoshop since Lightroom wasn't available until 2007. On the right, he reprocessed a couple days ago. First upsized it to about 35 megapixels from 6 to 35 in Topaz, and then reprocessed it with about 7 different masks in Lightroom. Oh, wow. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that nuts? 35 megapixels. Like, this stuff, I'm telling you, Trey, this is like
Yep.
Arthur C. Clarke, magic. This is magic level stuff where you could take a 6 megapixel shot and make it 35 megapixels, denoise it with AI and do all the things and come out with something that's just spectacular like this.
Yep.
Amazing. Okay,
Yep.
so what do you
Yep.
think? What do you think on the merits of the shot itself?
This is a very, very, very popular location. So it's really hard to be unbiased when you look at images from this location, because I've seen this thing covered in snow with lightning, and so this is just one of those kind of spots everybody goes to. I love the shot though. I mean, I love the calm water. I love the reflection. For me, I'm not a huge fan of vertical. I like to see more expanse. So, but when you want to get this particular shot, you need that reflection. So, I would try to at least lean into square. I know there's lots of trees around this area, so maybe square would give it a little more breathing room. I feel like we've squeezed the reflection and the rocks into this really tight space, and it's hard to appreciate. And then a majority of this image is the center, which is not the rocks, right? The rocks are the heroes of this. So, but as far as like the rework goes, I love the rework that's been done here. The trees pop, the greens are better saturated. We have better contrast and detail. The rocks have a nice, deeper tone to them. So well done on that. Like, this is great, especially digging into the archives and pulling out, an old 6 megapixel image. That's kudos for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, pulling up these old images, it's almost like, when you process the images to the limit of the incompetence of the software you were using at the time, and then
Oh
now
yeah.
you're revisiting these shots with fewer limits and more superpowers, and able to more accurately, I can see, like, when you're sitting in Lightroom and you're like just frustrated, like, oh, if I could just get this to, and then now you can, like, if I could just get these trees to pop, but I don't want to mess with everything else, and I'm not good at masking out trees and the high frequency detail around that tree line, so I'm just gonna put a gradient on it. So,
Right. Right. Right.
now you could say, yes, I want the trees, or anything in this color range I want to manipulate and pop or whatever. So, as far as the photo itself goes, like the I see what we're trying to do with the kind of mirror feel of this. There's the symmetry that's going on here. I don't Because this is such a popular location, I don't know if it's working really well on this, especially with the rock mass in the middle. What I think I'd like to see is something completely different, like inverted, like completely flip this image and crop it right around here, right in the, or go square with it. Give me maybe a little more headroom at the bottom or at the top, as it were, and
Hmm.
crop it down there, making something completely different, right? So you got a crisp area down here that will serve as kind of an anchor, so people can kind of get the gag that it's been inverted. But then you have something really interesting and painterly created by nature at the top. That's probably, a little different than most people that went to that location might do. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, easy to do too, right? I mean, especially now they're just playing around with dusting off old pixels, right? let's
Yeah.
let's experiment and push them further.
Yep.
But cool, yeah, I like it. 35 megapixels, it just kills me,
Yeah.
and it looks
And well done
great.
to Eric for digging into that old software and figuring all that out, because like an experiment like this, learning all those tools are going to help you do subtle adjustments and tweaks to your newer images.
Hmm.
Like, oh, like I didn't get the detail I wanted there, but now I know how to fix that now. So that's
Yeah,
always part of that. Yeah, it's nice.
no, absolutely, very cool. All right, so coming up next, put the camera right. So many buttons. Nora Zenus. You should see my desk. Nora Zenus is up next. And before we click on this video or this image, if you're watching this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to it so we can feed the YouTube algorithm, get more eyeballs on this. Likes are appreciated, subscribes are loved. All right, here's the original. I'm not going to try to pronounce this name, Nora. I know you're trying to get me, but I'm not going to try to pronounce. If you want to read it, put it in there phonetically. So, all right, look at that. It's a glacier. Look at that. Where are the White Walkers from Walking
We only
Dead?
see us, Frederick. We're on us.
Oh wow. Okay. See, I can't push
Push the
buttons.
right button.
Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Got it. There we go. Again, where are the White Walkers? This is a Walking Dead.
Yay.
This is yeah. Winter has come.
How cool. God, that's a nice scene. Well, I can tell you right away that there's 3 images that she's posted in here, which I just love. I love seeing that. And my favorite is the black and white variation. I just
Oh,
love
here's the
that so
today.
much because I think that which is the middle one, yeah, which really just shows the
Oh,
contrast that's in there. And I think that maybe what Nora was trying to do is in her final version is to show a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the ice that's in there. And I don't, for me, I don't think that that's necessary. I think it loses a little bit of the impact, the depth, the texture. But I love the crop. You cropped in tight on the whole image to get that nice little composition you have there, and I think it's exceptionally well done. So.
very nice. Yeah, I'm bouncing between these two. I like the blue in
Mhm.
there. They all of these remind me. I mean, if you're a Walking Dead fan, you know what this reminds you of. Not Walking Dead. Game of Thrones. Thank you very much. My brain is mush today. Game of Thrones. Um, but you know what this reminds you of? I think I like this one better. I think maybe it's that I'd like to see this one printed. I feel like this would look amazing printed, and this one more screen. Like I feel like I want this as my desktop right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it
Yeah,
may
and
be my
and
desktop. Sorry, Nora.
and it's hard to see those subtle blues, those subtle cyan colors, the nuances that are coming into this image. So, like for example, like if this image was printed on acrylic and lit properly, you could get those blues to just pop and it would look like it's backlit. And you're not going to get that with the black and white. So really sometimes you have to think about what's the intention of this image and where you're going to display it. So the crop is stellar, the composition is stellar. The way it's presented here, I like the black and white.
Yeah, yeah. I have to agree with you there. I love that, like what she did here with the strata here, because you've got the visual strata, right? Because you've got the foggy kind of obscured layer, and then this crisp layer right in the middle, and then kind of a combination of fog and crispness
Yep.
down here, and then something completely different in the foreground. Yeah, it's like a layer cake of goodness.
Well,
Like it.
and it gives you that foreground, middle ground, background sense, right? So even though
Hmm.
this is shot probably with a long lens, the image is highly compressed, you still get a sense of depth because you have those fog layers and you have that going on. And
Yeah.
Ladudorina in the chat says she likes the hint of blue better. So
Mm,
yeah, see, it's
mm,
going to come down to preference.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Print them both. Put one in the living room and one in the den.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful on metal, right?
Ooh, metal? No, acrylic. It needs to go on
No.
acrylic. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Especially if you can find somebody that prints on Fujiflex. Um, the color one on acrylic with Fujiflex will be exceptional.
So this one on acrylic with, would you call it, is it Fuji Flux? I've never heard of that. Fuji Flux?
Fujiflex. Yeah,
Flex.
it's actually
Fuji.
it's a printed material, but it's like it's a transparent. It's like a translucency. It's like a plastic, and so the light travels through it and has a white background on it. I don't even know if they still make it. I think they do, but it travels through the emulsion layer, hits the white, and then it bounces back. So you're actually seeing, reflected light through the colors of the material itself, as opposed to like a metal print. It's just a direct reflection. So
Is it,
I
so
don't
it's
know.
transmissive light? Is it a what do they call it? Duratrans? Remember those? Is it a Duratrans?
It's not backlit, but
Mm.
it's kind of like that. It's really hard. It's really hard to describe. I have a couple prints hanging here, and Peter has a bunch. We have a bunch in the gallery for pack. And when you put a light on it, it's like, holy crap.
It just
Versus
pops.
like shining it on a metal print. Not all
Mm.
prints work with it though. It's just certain prints.
Oh,
So
interesting. Interesting.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Thank you, Nora, for your submission. All right, up next is Phil Lewenthal. He says one from 2020 is originally processed, redone in monochrome with slight cropping and tonal fooling around. Sorry, no time for a frame. Sorry, Troy. Here's the original.
Oh,
Waiting
nice.
for it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this looks biblical. I don't know
Interesting.
why. His work, I always look for Charlton Heston in these shots.
Yeah, I think that this is one of those examples where removing the color, leaning into black and white, really shows the power of, going monochrome, and and how our brains go straight to shapes and form, as opposed to, highlighting the color and trying to figure out what the color is.
Yeah, look at
So
that.
yeah, I love this.
It's just, it's
I
no,
would.
one is not better than the other though. Like I look at this one, I have a completely different, it evokes a completely different feeling, or not completely different, a different feeling where it's like I feel the warmth of the shot coming through. It doesn't feel so stark and cold. Like if I got in that water, I'm gonna get hypothermia or something. And in this one, it feels more aggressive. Obviously, it's more contrasty, more jaggedy, almost more. I don't know, maybe a different kind of fantasy. I don't know. I like them both. Maybe it's this one feels more alien. The black and white feels more alien and otherworldly. This one feels more like, somewhere on the California coast, which I know where this was taken there.
So I'm curious. I don't want to lead the witness, but in the black and white image, what is your subject? What do you
Right.
see as the subject?
Yeah, this rock right here. this,
Right,
this
right.
this rock right here becomes my subject. It's the frog that's looking out and thinking about its
Yeah.
next leap. This looks
But in the
like.
color, I don't see that as the subject.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It blends in more. Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing becomes, yeah, you're right, less of a subject. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is this, we've got all of these rock formations here, and then this organic feature in the top way up here, which is the sea palm. And it is kind of, I don't know. I'm curious what you think. Like that's taking away a little bit. It's either giving some for this frog down here to look at, like he's trying to get to that that fly up there, or maybe it'd be better just with that cropped off, and like crop it off here to make it even more about this little kind of contained eddy area right here. If you cut it off and trap the viewer right in this area, then this becomes even more the subject. On this one, yeah, maybe a similar flow, but with less impact. If you crop it up here you're still trapping this area down here, but our little rock froggy formation doesn't become as evident. You're never gonna not see that as a frog from now on. Just saying.
But yeah, and I think what's happening in the black and white is that the frog. Somebody's gonna listen to this and go, "Where's the frog?" Like it's the rock, right? I think that what's happening is that when you look at the image, the first thing you do is you kind of scan the image, and then you find our subject, which is the rock, aka the frog, and then
Yep.
because it's pointing up, you tend to like look up, and it keeps you in that cycle. So I think you need
Mm.
all of that. I think it works
Mm.
really well. I would probably crop off like the first rock below the frog
Right here.
to tighten it up a little bit, but it's kind of incidental. I think it
Yeah.
works. I think it
Yeah.
works. But this for me is such a great example of where color and black and white really tell a different story from from each other.
Yeah. The story of Froggle Rock.
Froggle Rock.
Couldn't resist. All right,
Jeez.
Phil. Thank you. Thank you. You know, Phil, come to the when you come to the mixer, bring this image with you. Let's discuss on Friday.
Let's
All right.
debate.
It's a debate. I think that's it. Did I get everybody? Let
I
me
think
reload the
so. Yeah.
page just in case there are stragglers. Come down.
Yeah, I just did that too because I didn't have Phil's in there when you said there was one from Phil. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we got them all. Looks like we got them. What do you think? You have a favorite out of all these?
It's a tough call, but I think as far as like a set of images that's been edited and reimagined is I really like Karen's. I really like Laduna Arenas. I think that
Yeah.
I mean, and like to be just completely frank, I mean the original image is so mundane, it's not great, right? It's a nice shot, but she's turned it into something wonderful with the crop and the toning and the editing. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
where I love
Yeah, and we're
Nora's.
splitting hairs about the balance here, the color balance.
Yeah. Where I really love Nora's image, but Nora's image unedited is pretty amazing. It's still pretty
Right.
damn cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you came in hot, Nora.
yeah, that's Nora though. That's what Nora
Right.
does. Yeah. Yeah. She
Yeah.
comes in fully loaded, man. Um,
Yeah. Nora's Thor with a camera instead of a hammer.
yeah. I dig it though. And I really enjoy the fact to see Laduna Arenas work through an image, which if most of us were standing there shooting, like that's what we would get with the bird, and a lot of people would just like toss it and be like, it didn't get close enough, I didn't get the right crop, whatever, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
you get to tweak it, and she doesn't use Photoshop. She's using Affinity Photo and
That's
a
right.
couple other little
That's right.
tools for this, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, and we say that. We say that with like gasps, right? Oh, she didn't even use Photoshop or Affinity Photo, Pure Raw, all these other applications that aren't Adobe branded applications
yeah,
are, I would argue superior to Photoshop of the day. If you want to go back a couple of years, they're way superior to that version of Photoshop when people were creating award-winning, world-changing work with Photoshop.
yep.
So just
No,
because it's not what Photoshop of 2024 is, doesn't mean it's necessarily an inferior application.
no, it's not inferior. But if you're caught up in the modernness of Photoshop and generative fill and
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
that, so when we say like somebody edited this without Photoshop, you have to realize that that's a different set of modern tools, right? It doesn't mean it's less capable, but it doesn't have the same bells and whistles that we're used to seeing in Photoshop. So I like that. I like that idea. I can't use Affinity because it doesn't translate all my previous edits, which is kind of a bummer. But
yeah, yeah. Karen, Ladunarina, Karen in chat says it's very intuitive, and Affinity is a fantastic program. Yes,
it really
it
is.
is. It
Yeah, it
is.
really is.
We got to get them back on TWiP again to do a touch base. Last time I talked to Ash, he's the guy over there in charge of Affinity. What was it? This was way before I think this was before sky replacement was a thing. Remember we were talking about sky replacement was all
I
the
think so.
rage, and Skyloom had just kind of cracked the nut of making it easy to do sky replacements. Easy in terms of you have to ask if the sky was replaced, right? And then now, when Adobe came in and kind of dropped their hammer, it kind of shifted things. But yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, so we have that conversation with them again. I'm curious as to what their AI strategy, if they have one, is,
Right.
or how deep it is. I'm sure they have one, but I want to know more about it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. All right. Karen, you are this week's favorite from the TWiP photo
Yay.
critique. Congratulations. Look at that. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, Troy. I hope you put your thinking cap on and come up with what our next critique topic is going to be. Make it good. Make it
Hmm.
good. What is it?
Let me think. Let me think. I think we're gonna go with open.
Open.
Yeah,
Open.
open
Yeah,
category.
we
I
haven't
think
had
it's
open in a while.
time.
Yeah, we haven't had
Yeah,
open.
we haven't.
We gotta have that the palate cleanser of open. It's the ginger of the photo critique. Just to kind of
Right. And then we go from 5 images on topics to like 12 or 15 images when it's open.
right,
So we'll
right,
see.
right. Yeah, and let's make it even crazier. It's open, right? So whatever
Yes.
you feel like
AI,
you want to
anything.
submit creatively, it could be a composite, it could be a 360
Love
mark.
it.
Just share it on your platform and give us the link, and I'll screen share that. It could be a AI, as you say, of whatever flavor or however you want to put it together. It could be something that tells a story, a little short video, something. Create
Yeah.
create something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a photo. Use your superpowers and create something. Maybe it's even like open it up even further. Animation could be animated, could be written. You want to tell a short story that I'll have to narrate. Go ahead, do it.
Open mic night. Yeah.
Open mic.
You're so
Yeah,
funny.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. I mean, if we're gonna open the kimono, let's open the kimono, right? Come
Okay.
on. Let's see what you got.
Might as
Cool.
well.
All right, cool. All right, so that one will take place 2 weeks from today, which makes it March 4th. We're already in March. You believe that? We're in the last month
Shut up.
of the first quarter of 2024. You believe that? It'll be 2025 before you know it. And then 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, cool. So we'll leave it there. Troy, any parting shots you want to throw at the folks before we end this one?
Oh, geez. What's it say up there? Follow the tug. I have a sign up there I made called Follow the Tug. You know, do what you're called to do. Yeah. And be nice. Be nice to people. Don't be a dick.
How do you know what you're called to do, though, Troy? That's easier said than done.
I,
It's like
I didn't say do what you're called to do. I don't know. What did I say? I don't know. Follow the tug. Like, we have this draw, right? Sometimes we have this sort of ping on our shoulders that says, you should walk more, or, I really want to play my guitar again, and then we find reasons not to do it. But that's the tug. It's like, we need to do that. And I struggle with that because my guitar is sitting right here and I don't use it enough. So
I know. Yeah, that's the story of my life. You fill in the blank with that. Like fill in my blank is sitting right here, and I'm just not. It's just sitting here depreciating. I need to do more with
yeah.
it. Cool. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time today, Mr. Miller, once again, and thank you to all the folks that joined us live for this. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. I appreciate you. And we'll see you for the next critique, which is fully open. The fully open critique. Let's see what you got. I realize this is coming with photos. This is gonna be photos.
Yeah, they will.
It's gonna be fine, But I'll be
Except
impressed
Mark.
if someone comes with something else that's not an image. Yeah, I know Mark's gonna come with something amazing in 360 or something, but
I wonder if I can come up with like a cinematograph or something. I don't know.
You could do something like with sparks flying or something. I don't know.
I'll show you a time lapse of me laying tile.
No. Yeah. Or you know what? We could watch paint dry or grass grow. That'd be great.
I did a time lapse of grass growing. It's pretty cool.
I actually need to do that. I grow this cat grass for my cat, right? So, and it's always in
Yeah.
the same spot. I should just point a camera at it and let it germinate for 5 days and see what happens.
Yeah, you should.
All right, everybody. We'll leave it right there. Thank you so much for joining us in this photo critique. The next one should be pretty interesting, or not. We'll see. We'll see. All right, Troy. Have a good Monday, man. Take care.
All right. Take care, my friends. See ya.
Bye.